Hello everyone, I'm Joe Ackourey, and welcome to the Fly of the Week. For this episode, episode 19, I'll be tying a traditional Sulphur Dun Dry Fly. So let's get started. Okay, here we go. The traditional, or the classic, Sulphur Dun Dry Fly. Start by placing the hook in the vise, making sure that the hook shank is parallel to the tabletop. And then the next step is determining where the wing is going to be set. So, like I said in previous episodes, I like to use my thread as my indicator. I wrap my thread around the shank of the hook, starting from the eye and wrapping back to the center of the shank of the hook. Once I find the center, I'll wrap back up toward the eye, half of what I wrapped. And that's exactly where the wing is going, right there, guys. So, for the wing material, it calls for Mallard duck wing quill sections, a set of them, a left and a right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a section equal to about 3/4 of a gap, just like so, on each side of the feather. And the usable feather is probably about, I'd say about an inch up from the base of the quill up to probably in this particular feather, probably a good 3 inches worth is usable. Maybe you go a little higher. But for this dry fly, we're going to use right in the softer stuff. This is a little stiffer up high the higher you go. But you'll notice that there's a nice curve to the feather. And I'll show you what we're going to do with that. So I'm going to take a section out of the one side. And again, notice the curve to the feather. There's a natural curve. So I'm going to wet my finger and stick that to my finger while I cut the other. I'm going to do the same for this side. I'm going to cut the section equal to about 3/4 of the gap. And I'm going to lay it right on top of that section, the one that's stuck to my finger. Line them up as best as you can. It's not an easy. These are pretty tough to work with. One is a little bit bigger than the other, so I'm using my tips of my scissors. And I'm going to peel away 1 or 2 of those fibers just to get them even. I was a little generous with that one side. And there you have it. There's your wings. Okay? They oppose each other because they curve out. So once you get them lined up, which is no easy feat, trust me, on that one, without destroying the quill section, you're going to lay them on top of the shank of the hook, and you're going to proportion these wings to this hook size. So you have, like, we're going to go by the previous episodes where I said the length of the wings are equal to the shank of the hook and include the eye. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Now the tips are going to be forward. You can see that they're angled. There's an angled tip there. The points are going to be laying flat against the shank of the hook. You don't want to put them this way, opposite. You want them pointing down. The points will be touching the shank of the hook. And you want to get that measurement right. You want to get the measurement from the eye of the hook back to the where the shank and the bend meet. And that's the length of your wing. So you're going to pop that in that position and make sure you're resting that wing on the shank of the hook. Now you're going to take your thread, you're going to kick a wrap in between your fingers and pinch that wrap. You're literally, I'm holding a loop above the wing, because you want to, when I pull down the bobbin, you want that loop to go straight down on top of those wing sections. And if I'm doing this right, or when I pull down, you'll see that these wings will pop up a little bit. So hopefully we got that right. And they did. Perfect. Now keep tension on the bobbin. Peel your fingers back carefully and wrap back. Don't wrap forward to secure it, and then clip off the excess. Okay. Now grab the wings from the base of the quill sections and wrap in front. to dam up some thread in the front to stand the wings up. There you go. There's your wings. Now, I like to take my scissors, I'll point it to the camera again, and just kind of separate them a little. And with the thread behind the wing, I'm going to kick a wrap of thread in between them, like a little figure 8 there. And now it's in front of the wing, I'm going to take a wrap and go between them again. Just one figure 8. And pick your wings up and lock that figure 8 in. And there you go. There's your nice set of wings. Return the thread. Oop, return the thread. I just lost one accidentally there, I believe. Return your thread to the back of the shank, where the shank and the bend meet, and prepare for your tail. So the tail material calls for a medium to light dun hackle. And when we bend the feather over, notice the length of these fibers, they're quite long, and that's what we need. We need a hackle whose fiber lengths are quite long in the medium to light dun color shade. And then we're going to gently draw down these fibers until they're perpendicular to the stem. Just like that. See how nice and lined up they become? So I need to take a good amount, I'd say, about a ½ inch worth or more. And squeeze that really tight and just pull the feather away. And then you have all these fibers all splayed out there. You want to just gently condense them. And there's your perfect tail, guys. We got to measure the tail just like we measured the wing. The length of the tail is equal to the shank of the hook, including the eye. We're going to pop that right in that spot. There we go. There's our tail. Keep that on top of the shank. Perfect. Blend that in with the excess wing material. And you'll see, you might have to add a little bit of thread there just to build the body up a little bit, just to make it even. But there you got your nice wings that are proportioned to the hook and your tail. Now for the body. The body is the Sulphur Dun Fur Blend that I make. You'll find on my website. It's really easy to use. I'm going to grab a little bit of this, not much, and dub a real nice thin body. Slightly tapered. You can wet your fingers if you want a little bit, but you can see how easy this dubs down and makes an awesome noodle. And you could literally dub this down to like a 28 or smaller if you wanted to. Very easy to work with. Okay, now once you got your dubbing noodle made, you just want to slide that up to the hook and right up against the tails and begin building your body. Now, when you're wrapping your body, you want a slight taper on it. So you're going to slightly overlap each wrap. The more you overlap, the thicker it'll get. Okay, I'm going to stop right about there because I need to leave some room for this hackle. Get rid of any extra. And secure the body with 5 or 6 wraps. Okay, now for our hackle. I selected 2 hackles. And again, medium to light dun. Notice the fuzz on the bottom. You got to get rid of that. So you just pull down, exposing the stem of the hackle. Repeat the process for the second hackle. A lot of fuzz there. Get rid of that. And now what you want to do is line up the 2 hackles so they're curving together, like so. You don't want them curving apart. That's a no-no. You don't want that to look like that. You want the hackles laying on top of each other with the stems and the hackle fibers meeting perfectly, like so. And you want it curving down and over the fly, not up and away. So we're going to attach these hackles tightly up against the side of the shank of the hook behind the wing, and then I'm also going to ride them up through the front and stop about a 1/16 of an inch from the eye of the hook, and then return your thread up against the wings. Clip off the excess hackle stems. And the reason why I decided to, you know, capture the hackle fiber stem, or the hackle stems, all the way up, almost up to the eye, is because you'll see the transition there. You can see how nice and smooth it is from where the body is to the front. I just didn't want to tie it in the back and then cut them off. Then there'd be like an elevation difference. So I wanted to keep it all nice and even. And you'll see when I wrap the hackle how nice it is. So now you're going to take your top hackle, grab it with your hackle pliers perpendicular to the stem, and begin to wrap. Carefully wrap. You don't want to mess those wings up. First wrap is up against the body. Second wrap is between the wing and the first wrap. Third wrap is right up against the wing. Carefully hold the wings back. Wrap your first hackle tightly up against the wings. Now you're going to take your second wrap, or probably the remainder of this hackle, and chase it with your bobbin, and overlap the thread with your bobbin as you're wrapping. This will secure the hackle and pretty much make it indestructible. A couple thread wraps on top of the hackle does an amazing job of securing it. Now sneak your thread in there and return it back to the wing. Take your second hackle perpendicular to the stem. And the second hackle I use to fill in any gaps that I missed with the first hackle. There's one there, and there's one more right there. And whatever I can get out of the front. Again, chase your hackle with your bobbin. And you can see how nice and full that fly is looking. Secure the hackle. Clip off the excess. Get rid of any other hackle fibers that got stuck that aren't cooperating with the rest of the group. I'm going to clean it up a lot more than this, but I'm ready for my knot. Sneak your knot in there without trying to capture too many hackle fibers. It could be a little challenging, but there you have it. Now, as you can see, I have some cleaning up to do, and just get rid of the stuff that got trapped in your knot, and the ones that aren't really cooperating, like the ones in the back here. There's maybe 4 or 5 back here. It's not gonna hurt anything. Just you straighten that one wing out. There we go. Maybe one more here. One more there. Yeah, just dress it up, man. Dress it up. I think that's gonna do it. Let's get our head cement. Put a drop on the knot. Here we go. Let's see what we got. We miss any? No, it looks pretty good. Not bad. As you can see, the balance of that fly is perfect. It's dancing on the water already. There you go, guys. Traditional, or the classic Sulphur Dun Dry Fly. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode. Tight lines, guys.